Hey guys, I'm the Attention Deficit Firefighter, and I got a couple of tools with me today that aren't Halligans. Now, they've got an adze, and they've got a spike. It's made out of drop forged 4140 steel, but that's definitely not a set of forks. That looks like a Boston rake. And this one also has an adze and a spike. It's also made out of 4140 steel, but I got a New York hook on this end. This bar is called a Newark 44, like Newark, New Jersey, not to be confused with New York. This one, it's called a Jake rake. You know, a Jake like a brand new firefighter, and a Boston rake. So, what are these tools for? What do we do with them? Why aren't they Halligans? What are they? So I think at this point, about everyone's familiar with the set of irons, right? It's a 6 or an 8 pound flat-headed axe, and hopefully a Pro bar, or a Council Tools bar, or a Fat Max bar, or a 3-piece pinned Paratech garbage bar. Regardless, it's a Halligan style tool and a flat-headed axe. This is kind of like that. I've still got all the forcing power of having an adze and all the mechanical advantage that comes with that. I've still got a spike for forcing pins or for putting holes in things or for doing baseball swings or for just generally breaking things. But this is a little bit longer. This tool is 44 inches long instead of the standard 30 like you'd find with a Pro bar. It weighs 7.5 pounds, so it actually weighs about the same. And instead of forks and the functionality of forks, I've got this New York hook on this end, making this one a pretty decent overhauling tool. Now, I don't know about you, I've definitely tried to overhaul with a Halligan, and it works. It's not the best tool for reaching overhead and pulling things, might not be the best tool for controlling doors, but it's pretty darn good at about everything. So, why do I have one of these? And why have I been carrying this particular tool for the last 6 months? Why do I keep bringing this tool with me to fires? And why do I keep using it? Why did I spend $300 to buy another one with a slightly different head on it? Why do I keep asking you rhetorical questions? Why did I tell my wife this was only an $80 tool? I may have made a mistake somewhere. Oh well. So this is what I've been calling a set of irons for the last few months. I've been carrying this bad axe that I like because it adds a little bit more functionality over a regular flat-headed axe, and this Newark hook married together for the last 6 months. Why? Again, with the questions. I'm going to start answering some questions now. Let's start with why this bar is not a Halligan. First off, this bar, this Newark hook, is not a single piece of drop forged 4140 steel. And that is where most people, I think, start and end their conversation on outside tools. Despite this not being a single drop forged piece of steel, I have managed to not break this. I've forged metal doors, I've forged wood doors, I've pierced steel hoods, I've gone into factories and fought factory fires, I've dropped it. I haven't run it over yet. I might do that in a future video. And this whole set, despite looking kind of heavy, weighs 12.5 pounds. It's 3.5 pounds lighter than a standard 6 pound axe and a Pro bar. But I'm getting a lot more functionality out of this setup. And while I'm going to get into my iron setup in a future video, I'm going to focus today on this Newark hook. So the name of the game for me with forcible entry is leverage. And the best way to get more leverage is with a longer lever. When you force a door, your adze becomes the fulcrum of the lever. The longer you make your lever arm, the more force you apply at the fulcrum, and the more force you apply into the door. The more force you apply into the door, the easier it is. The longer you can work, the more babies you can save, the more you can search, the more fire you can put out, the slower it'll be to run your bottle out, the happier your officers will be. You get more promotion points, you'll get more promoted, you'll make more money, and your wife won't leave you. Probably. Probably. So I bought this Newark hook from a company called Two Devils Tools. And if you haven't checked them out yet, I highly recommend that you do. The bar itself is made by Firehooks Unlimited, and they make all sorts of other stuff, just like the Pro Bar. I bought this bar because one, I wanted more leverage, and two, I really, really, really like carrying a New York hook. I don't really like carrying a 6-foot New York hook. I wanted something closer to 4 feet. That way it's a little more portable. I wanted to be able to still overhaul overhead and pull ceiling, but I wanted to be able to force doors too. And I didn't want to carry a bunch of extra stuff. So I spent the money, bought my own tool. See, I kind of have this idea that firefighters are tradesmen. Plumbers buy their own tools, electricians buy their own tools, carpenters buy their own tools. I don't see any reason why firefighters shouldn't also. Yes, the truck has absolutely all the equipment we're going to need. But in my area, we don't carry this. And I've been using the hell out of this thing. So my Newark hook weighs in at about 7 pounds, 10 ounces. The way that it gets away with that, and being this long and this size and this strength, while still being pretty light, has to do with the actual bar itself. It's made out of a length of steel pipe. And according to the website I got it from, Two Devils Tools, it's aircraft steel. What qualifies as steel as aircraft steel? I don't know yet. I'm sure some of you down in the comments are going to educate me on that, though, and I would love to hear about it. I'm not a steel expert, but I want to be. Anyway, this is the lightweight bar, and that's why I bought another one. You see, this Jake rake that I bought weighs 2 pounds more than my Newark hook. That's because I spent the money and got a thicker steel pipe in the center of this one. This one is advertised as gun barrel steel. I don't know if it's rifled or not, but I do know that it is definitely strong, and it's definitely heavier. In my mind, heavier doesn't always mean better. Whilst I know for a fact that this bar is going to be stronger than my Newark hook, I'm not entirely sure that I need it. I wanted to get one that had this heavier steel because I want to test it out at some point. And let me know in the comments if you can think of good ways for me to test this. I don't really want to run it over, but I might have to. I also bought this bar because I wanted to check out this Boston rake. I've never had an opportunity to use one. I'm not an East Coast fire department, and my department only buys New York hooks or regular fiberglass pike poles. Whatever's cheapest, honestly. So I wanted to see if this was any better at pulling ceiling, drywall. My jurisdiction has a lot of plaster and lath, so I wanted to see how that would work. I also liked the shape of this tip. I wanted to see if I could have some luck prying under things and popping them up. I spend a lot of time fighting car fires, and I want to see how this does against the steel hood. I guess I'm about to find out. For the time being, this is going to be my everyday carry on the truck. I've been carrying this Newark hook for the last 6 months or so, and it's served me pretty well. The only complaint I really had with either of these tools was the grips. The Keltex foam that comes on it is not very good. It tends to fall apart, it doesn't hold up to heat all that well, and it's not very grippy when your hands are wet. So I replaced them with these grip kits that I got from Firemall. And these have been fantastic. The rubber rings that are underneath the cast-like fiber fill material provide a lot of surface area for your hands, even with gloves on, even if they're wet or even if they're frozen. And this one is glow in the dark. I've definitely spent a lot of time working with this Newark hook already. I've forced quite a few residential doors. I've forced some commercial doors. I've done some steel-framed, steel-cased doors, inward swinging, I've done outward swinging. I've done a couple of roll-up doors, and so far this bar's held up pretty good. The only thing that I have done to it that has caused me any kind of issues is it's got a little bit of a warp now from where we used it as a battering ram to try to get through some steel plating at a factory fire. But ultimately, this has held up extremely well. I have not treated this tool kindly because I wanted to see if it would hold up. So even though this is the lighter weight aircraft steel, it still does great. And I don't have any complaints on that front just yet. one big complaint that I've got is right here. First off, these welds aren't super fantastic. Second off, these clips that come on this very basic nylon strap are just atrocious. They're actually bent into place. I couldn't change them out if I wanted to. I mean, I guess I could just cut it off, but so far it's still working. I just wish they weren't there and it had some kind of a better securing device. But you'll notice, stay. When I bought this one, I got it without a sling. It's because I don't really use the dang thing, and I don't think it's all that necessary. So what do you guys think? Is it a Halligan? Is it a hook? Is it neither? Is it both? Me personally, I think that my Jake rake and my Newark hook kind of count as both. It's a multi-purpose tool for personnel limited fire departments. On my paid fire department, we might get 12 to 14 firefighters on a good day. For my volunteer department, I might get 4 firefighters. It's very, very possible that I'm forcing doors and advancing lines and doing overhaul very, very quickly at almost the same time. So to carry one tool that can do all of those tasks, that can force a door, pull ceiling, and be light enough and stay out of the way far enough that I can still advance a hose line, is worth it for me. So I bought my own tool. Much like a police officer has their own service weapon, I have mine. This comes home with me. It goes to work with me. It lives in my locker. I sleep with it in my bed. Okay, maybe don't tell my wife that one. She doesn't know. I maintain this tool. I've modified this tool myself. I take pride in my Newark hook the way that I took care of my weapon when I was still in the Army. I did another one, and that's okay. I want to try some other new things. I want to try a different hook. Either way, I'm getting off the truck with one of my own tools, and that tool's probably going to be one of these two. Well, guys, that's about all I have to say on the Newark hook. I'll let you know how my Jake rake turns out in the next couple of months. And I kind of wanted to take a second to talk about what I'm thinking about doing with this channel. So I really like firefighting, I really like fire tools, and I really like having an excuse to buy more fire tools. So, if you like and subscribe, you can watch me destroy a bunch of doors and hopefully break some tools and break some stuff and kind of push the boundaries of what we can do as firefighters. See, I think that a lot of the tools that we carry are not well seen. When I went to go buy my Newark hook and the Jake rake, I couldn't find anything on YouTube with anybody looking at them. And I found that when I asked other firefighters, they thought I was crazy for even wanting to buy my own stuff. But I don't think it's all that crazy. And if I am crazy, then hopefully I can be crazy for you guys. So, if you liked what you've seen today, like and subscribe. Go down to the comment section and let me know exactly what you think. I absolutely want to hear from you guys. And I hope to see you next time. Until then, I am the Attention Deficit Firefighter, and you have a good night.